I'm here with screenwriter Zack Gutin. Zack, what inspired you to become a screenwriter?
Hi, Katie. I've always wanted to be a writer. I think since I was a little boy, I would go see a movie and then write a short story that was a rip-off of the movie shortly after. I would write little books, and my parents were always really supportive of it, so they would, my mom would get like binding put into my little short stories so that they looked like real books and really got me excited about it. And I just loved movies and TV growing up as a kid. I moved a lot, so moving around a lot, that was like, it sounds maybe a little therapeutic, but it was like the one static thing that I always had was I could go back to those characters of whatever movie, whatever TV show. So I'd make new friends, but I always had those characters there. So I loved movies and TV shows as a kid, and I always wanted to write. And then when I was in high school, Scream came out my freshman year, and I think I can distinctly remember noticing the credit written by Kevin Williamson, and it kind of clicked for me that somebody was writing these movies and TV shows, and I was like, that's what I want to do.
And you've written a lot of sketch comedy. That's kind of where you started.
Yeah, I started actually in stand-up in college, which was just an experiment more than anything. I had a professor who told me that nobody was going to read my scripts when I was 19, so I should try and get my voice out another way. And so I did stand up, and I had some success with that. I got to go touring with the comedians from the Howard Stern show, which was amazing when you're just turning 21 to be on the road with those guys, you can imagine. Then afterwards I got into sketch comedy. I moved right to LA after graduation and had a degree in English and started training at Second City, renowned sketch comedy and improv sort of mecca. And then from there, the Upright Citizens Brigade, which has now sort of become the prominent theater, where Second City is legendary. UCB, the Upright Citizens Brigade, is really the stronghold for sketch comedy these days.
What was it like writing for SNL?
That was a thrill. I got to be there for a little while. Got brought in as a script consultant to just be in the writer's room and pitch ideas and pitch on sketches that were already written. And that is an environment unlike anything else I've ever seen, where the writers, there's 25, 30 writers, including cast members, and they are there in the writer's room till 4 a.m. a lot of the time. It's like an apartment or a dorm room, if you will. And they're there all hours of the morning, and then they sleep until the afternoon, and they wake up and they do it again. And it's this crazy schedule that they keep where they're writing all day long. And you really see just how to get the best juice out of any one idea when you spend that much time on these 4 and 5 minute sketches, really trying to find the funniest way to present it. So an amazing experience, a tiring experience. Very cool to be around Lorne Michaels and that whole team.
Was it very chaotic? What's the vibe in the room? Is it fun or is it competitive? What's it like?
Very competitive. Very competitive. It is definitely fun though. It's really loose. You'll see people walking around without their shoes on and pulling pranks on one another. Like I said, you're there till all hours of the morning, so there's sort of this, sometimes like 2:30 a.m. people start to get hungry, and there's a writer's assistant who has like every menu of every place in the city that's open that late, and the food comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning, so you sort of like rejuvenate yourself. And so there's definitely fun to it, but it's absolutely competitive. You have 30 writers who are vying, and typically everyone's writing 2 sketches a week, so you have usually between 40 and 60 pieces of material a week. It does vary, and then that's all vying for 8 spots. There's 8 sketches that are going to go live to air, and right in the beginning of the week it gets weeded out. So you do a table read, you have the entire cast, and they're reading every single sketch, and Lorne Michaels and Seth Meyers, who's the head writer, will sort of nix ideas as they go and whittle it down to 25 ideas and 15 ideas, and then those 15 ideas you start rehearsing and building sets, and on your feet rehearsing, you start to see what's working and what's not, and you get down to the final 8.
And right now you are developing a feature film with Ben Stiller's production company. What's that process been like?
Yeah, well, I got signed by a literary manager last summer when I had a TV pilot, and the name of the company is Kaplan Perone, and they're one of the top literary managers in Hollywood. And I had an idea for a feature. It's actually based on something that I did in high school, or a friend of mine did in high school, but I was part of, privy to. It's really an interesting story. It's really the largest fake ID scam ever run by minors, and so a group of high school kids.
And you were involved in this.
Yeah, was involved with it. The group of high school kids selling thousands of fake IDs that were perfect, undetectable, and essentially transformed the whole grade and all their friends into 21-year-old adults.
So better than the ones you can get at Alvarado and Fifth Street here in LA? Not that I've done that.
Absolutely the best fake IDs anyone I've ever met has ever seen. Perfect holograms, serial numbers down correct. Some really tricky stuff that my friend all figured out, and what makes it cool and unique is that it happened in the mid-1990s, so it's sort of set against the arrival of the internet, which really was what made it possible, and there was this small window of time before the internet got more regulated where these sort of things were slipping through the crack, and tech-savvy, smart, ambitious teens were able to run amok.
So this would not be possible today?
This would not. I don't think so.
Or is this going to spiral out of control?
I think that one of the things that sort of happened in the end was that they did develop a new driver's license for the state of New Jersey, which is where I'm from. So I think nowadays there's a higher standard because they're aware that this is sort of possible. So there's new security features involved. I'm sure kids are figuring it out these days and finding ways, but to the best of our knowledge, the people involved, this is definitely the story of a group of teenagers getting to be 21 for a couple of years before they were really 21.
And where's the best place to check out your work online or to follow your career?
Well, I'm part of one of the prominent LA sketch comedy troupes. I still write for them, Drug Puppy. So you can come see Drug Puppy shows all over LA at the theaters, and you can go to drugpuppy.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at Zack Gutin.
Well, thank you so much, Zach, and best of luck with your upcoming feature script and all of your upcoming comedy shows and everything else.
Thanks a lot, Katie. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching Katie Chats. If you like the show, please subscribe. And if you're curious to know what I'm doing when I'm not interviewing, please click here. I'm also an actress and recently produced my first short film and would love for you to check out the trailer. Thank you.